Hello everyone, hope you are all doing well. Here I am going to do some reacception. I am going to react to a video of the unhealthy vegan reacting to a video by Free Lee about antinatalism, or rather simply the desire not to have children.
That's really an exaggeration, but I don't like them. I'm going to be honest with you, don't punish me for being honest. I don't like kids.
Is this really a unique stance? I get the impression that many of us don't really like kids in general. I think unless it's our own children or children we're closely related to or spend a lot of time with, we probably tend to get annoyed easily by other kids, right? Kids we don't know. It's like that Seinfeld episode, you gotta see the baby. No one wants to see your damn baby. I think the same can be said for animals. My dad's a good example. He never wanted any pets when we were growing up, but we always had pets, cats and a dog, and over the years he ended up bonding with them. My mom got adopted a little Jack Russell Beagle mix last year that my dad did not want to adopt this dog, and now they are like the best of friends. It's so precious. And of course, farmed animals. You know, many vegans and others as well put a lot of value in visiting places like Farm Sanctuary and getting to spend time with these creatures that many of us just view as food, right? You know, I don't think I really like chickens. I would describe myself as a chicken lover, but I think if you gave me enough time, you know, to bond with a chicken, I think we'd probably bond. But maybe Free Lee just really does not like kids and just doesn't want kids. That's fine. But I think wearing it as like a badge of honor and presenting it as this moral high ground, as she and other vegans are doing, I think it's weird, and I think it comes across as pretty misanthropic, which I think is an adjective that we vegans need to be distancing ourselves from.
I think there is an excess of vitriol here coming from the unnatural vegan. If people don't like kids, that's fine, and if they don't want to have kids, that's also fine. It's not like this woman is just going up and shouting at babies or something. She is just expressing her views about children in a fairly calm and controlled manner. It doesn't make you misanthropic to not like kids. In fact, knowing the numbers of parental abuse that happens in the world, it seems that these people are more philanthropic than most.
How many people, how many women, how many men in their, late teens, early 20s, late 20s, even 30s, have said that they hated children, didn't want kids, never going to have kids, and then went on to have kids, and then went on to say that raising kids was the most fulfilling thing they've ever done. It's not uncommon. So when my sister and I used to say that we're never having children, and my mom would reply, rather smugly, "We'll see." I get it now. And my sister, mother of two, she certainly gets it.
Some people have the desire to have children, then lose that desire later on. Some people lack the desire to have children and then gain that desire later on. All in all, it depends on the person, their lifestyle, and who they are as a person. Just because you and your sister felt a certain way about having children then changed their minds, doesn't mean that everyone else will. And here we are, 6 years later, and Free Lee still hasn't had a child.
But we've got to think past our own selfish desires to the bigger picture.
Parents wanting their children to procreate when they come of age, of course, is not necessarily selfish. Again, for many, having children is the most rewarding experience in their lives, and it's something that they often credit with making themselves better, more compassionate and more patient people. It's unsurprising that these parents would want their children to experience the same.
One of the big problems anti-natalists have with natalists is how they talk about children as a means to an end. A child isn't something to make you feel better or something that makes you become a nicer person. It is a human being that now has to suffer because you wanted to become a better person. Having children is inherently selfish because you are bringing the child from a better state to a worse one so that you are able to feel some kind of fulfillment or happiness.
There's no reason that we need to pop out another hungry mouth to feed.
There's 153 million fucking orphans on the planet.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I found out that there's over 150 million. It's just like, it's crazy to have more kids.
That's like 7 times the population of Australia, almost like 6 times or something. That's crazy.
Yeah, so there's a lot of there's a lot of hungry mouths to feed already.
Adoption and fostering are wonderful. There's no doubt about it. But I do find it interesting that seemingly none of these pro-adoption vegan couples actually end up adopting or fostering any kids. The excuse typically is something like, we don't like kids, we're happy the way we are, we like having the freedom to do whatever we want. I think this is weird. It's a little weird coming from vegans.
The onus wouldn't be on the people who already don't have children to foster children, the onus would be on the people who have their own children, or who want children to foster children instead of having children on their own. Freely already says that she doesn't want to have kids. Why would she force herself to do something that she doesn't want to do when there is about 60% or so of the population who like kids, and want to have kids?
Enough to live in a war-torn developing country in perpetual poverty, then yeah, that may be true. Or for those who otherwise aren't financially stable enough to care for a child. But for the vast majority of people, particularly for those of us living in the developed world, we're pretty happy to be alive. Freely enduring writers certainly seem happy to be alive with their perpetual holiday lifestyles.
It is not about being happy, it's the fact that it is better not to be born than to be born. To the point of happiness, there are many irrational reasons why we feel happy in life. There are a number of well-known features of human psychology that can account for the favorable assessment people usually make of their own life's quality. It is these psychological phenomena rather than the actual quality of a life that explain the positive assessment. The first being the Pollyanna principle, a tendency towards optimism. This manifests in many ways. First, there is an inclination to recall positive rather than negative experiences. For example, when asked to recall events from throughout their lives, subjects in a number of studies listed a much greater number of positive than negative experiences. The second being that very few people describe themselves as not too happy. Instead, the overwhelming majority claims to be either pretty happy or very happy. Indeed, most people believe that they are better off than most others or than the average person. And the third being habituation. When a person's objective well-being takes a turn for the worse, there is, at first, a significant subjective dissatisfaction. However, there is a tendency then to adapt to the new situation and to adjust one's expectations accordingly. Even if we were to think about this from an evolutionary standpoint, it would be most logical that we have an innate drive to want to continue living, as any being that did not desire to live, would be a genetic dead end, and an evolutionary failure. That's the video for today, people. Thank you for watching, and tell me any videos you would like me to respond to about antinatalism in the comments.